Unsure of where to get started in reloading? Looking for more resources for reloading? This is the video that's going to cover that. Hey folks, Rack Ops Tactical here, coming to you from the Rack Ops Tactical Workshop. I wanted to make a video on the resources that are out there for new or for even for experienced handloaders. For brand new handloaders or folks who are considering getting into this aspect of the shooting sports, this video is going to be a resource for you as to where do you start. There's so much out there, where do you even start? There are basically three categories of resources that we're going to talk about in this video. The first resource is books. Second is the internet. And third is other people. First, as in all endeavors, it's essential to establish what is the goal of your loading. Beginning with the end in mind will allow you to get linked up with the correct resources and equipment needed to get started in reloading. Here are some examples about the different types of reloading. Okay, these are included but not limited to reloading to save money, reloading in bulk just for plinking, reloading for handguns, reloading for precision long-range shooting, and many, many more things that are out there. I'll have more videos coming up about equipment, but this video is specifically about resources. So let's talk about books first. I know what you're thinking. Books. Remember, the key to becoming good at any subject starts with books. Reading books is becoming less of a priority these days for folks, and that is a mistake. Make time to read. You're not going to have time to read. You need to make time to read. Then put that knowledge into action. There's no value in reading if you don't put it into action. Okay, off my soapbox. So books should be your first stop when considering reloading or hand loading. Spending $30 to $40 on a reloading book, reading it cover to cover, will let you know if this is something that you should get into. If after reading your first reloading book, you find that there are too many details or it's just not something that you're into, you've only invested $30 to $40. Utilizing the proper resources will also help you with getting the equipment that you need to get started. Talking to a sales guy at a retail store is not going to be your best resource on equipment. Your first book should be one or both of these two reloading manuals, the Hornady Reloading Manual and the Sierra Reloading Manual. These two books cover a large majority of the most popular handgun and rifle bullets on the market today. Both of these books cover a combined several hundred pages of basic terminology, how to reload, basic equipment that's needed, and a lot more information. These two books will give you many popular load recipes and starting points for most of the commercially available cartridges. Here is what they look like. This is the Hornady Reloading Manual, and this is the current Sierra Reloading Manual. Now, once you've done that, your second book, assuming that you know the cartridge that you're going after, should be the Complete Reloading Manual for a caliber of your choice. These are usually between $9 and $15 on Amazon, and these books offer a compilation of most of the available reloading manuals, but only for the caliber that the book is written on. And it basically gives you the data from 10 to 15 reloading manuals, but at a much cheaper price than buying 10 to 15 reloading manuals at $30 to $50 each. Here's what a couple examples look like. You got your 45, you got your 223, and you got your 308. Again, those books priceless. Now, if you are loading for bulk plinking, then you probably have all the books that you need at this point. However, if you're loading like me for a precision long range, or you just want to get the best possible loads out of your hand loading because you take pride in the work that you do, or if you want to know what equipment you should get in order to buy once, cry once, then take a look at this next book. This book here is called Top Grade Ammunition by Glenn D. Zediker. Highly, highly recommend this. This book seriously changed my world on precision reloads. He has extensive info on tried and true methods that weed through the BS that you're going to get from salespeople or in online forums. I highly, highly recommend this book. Comes in about $30, $32 shipped on Amazon. And for the price of all the mistakes that you're going to make when you get started, this book is well worth the money. If I could only have one reloading book other than the reloading manuals that I just talked about, this would be it. Okay, next, I highly, highly recommend anything and everything that's ever been written, produced, or made by Brian Litz. If you're into long-range shooting, you're going to know his name as one of the top in the industry. His official title is the Chief Ballistician for Berger Bullets. If that isn't the coolest title, I don't know what is. He has a series of books, and I recommend all of them. However, to get you started, the first book I would get is called Applied Ballistics for Long-Range Shooting. This is what it looks like. Everything prior to this book has been about internal ballistics. This is what happens inside your firearm. This book, however, is all about external ballistics, which is all about what happens to the bullet once it leaves the muzzle to the point it gets to the target. The best thing about all of Brian's books is, although he is an actual rocket scientist, his books are written for the average person like you and me to read, understand, and then practically apply to our shooting. I consider this book essential to the reloader. This book is a little more expensive at about $60, but again, what you will learn and the mistakes that you're going to avoid by reading this is going to make it well worth the money. Continuing on with Brian Litz's books are his Modern Advancements series. They're called Modern Advancements in Long Range Shootings, Volume 1 and 2. This is what they look like. And he's got more coming, I believe. Both of these books have essential info for reloaders, including things like annealing, chronographs, and a lot more. Again, the best thing about these books from Brian is that his info is compiled scientifically and avoids all the BS and the old wives' tales that accompany a lot of the online info. These two volumes come in at about $30 to $40 each. Now, not required as a resource, but helpful if you're into self-defense or hunting, is part of why we reload, and it's called terminal ballistics. Okay, terminal ballistics is what happens to the bullet at the target once the bullet has reached the target. Now, there's going to be some of this info throughout Brian's books, but if you needed a book specifically on this topic, I would recommend this book on the subject. It's called Stopping Power, and it's by Evan Marshall and Edwin Snow. Now, they have a couple of books on the subject, but this is the one that I recommend. This book, again, is something that the average person can read and understand, but has been written by experts on the subject. This is going to be a great resource on answering some of the myths that are out there, such as 9mm versus 45. Lastly, in the notes, or in the book section, is keeping a notebook. Okay, this is going to be essential to have a reloading notebook to keep all the notes that you need to know as you start reloading and even as you progress into advanced reloading. I'll make another video on this topic specifically, but it is essential. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I just use a 3-ring binder with some loose leaf papers in there. I record everything from charge weights to muzzle velocities, overall lengths, techniques, processes, procedures. This is going to be essential because if you don't write things down, you're going to forget them, okay? And little details matter, especially in reloading. All right, next we're going to talk about the internet. So like in anything else, the internet can be a great resource for information. But like with anything else, you're going to find good information, bad information, okay? Misinformation is out there and unreliable sources are out there as well, like Wikipedia. My advice is get into 1 or 2 of the following forums that I'm going to talk about. They're going to be a great place for asking questions, finding tips and tricks, getting reviews on equipment, and things like that. However, please take anything that you read on the internet with a grain of salt and bounce it off of the other resources that I've already talked about to see if it makes sense in the overall process. One of my biggest pet peeves is when a new reloader asks if something is safe to do and someone tells them, oh yeah, I've been doing XYZ for years and never had a problem. My analogy is, okay, well, you can run red lights and roll through stop signs for years and not get into an accident. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do or that it's safe. Okay, so some good reloading forums are going to be the Sniper's Hide Forum, Accurate Shooters Forum, and the Firing Line Forum. Those 3 places are what I recommend that you get started in. Again, there's more out there, but these are the ones that I recommend. Before going to these forums, you need to read the recommended books so that you'll know the questions to ask once you get there. Don't just go straight to the forum and start asking questions. Also, if at all possible, stick to the sticky sections of these forums. These pinned resources are usually vetted for accuracy and are usually very trustworthy. Once again, I'll stress, if somebody gives you an answer like, I've done it that way for years, it's no problem, or if their sample size, like standard deviation, is on a sample size of 3, or if their answer is just straight up rude because you're new, be very leery of these answers. They're probably untrustworthy. Okay, another internet resource is going to be, where do you go to buy equipment and components? There's literally hundreds of places online that sell or are the middleman to sell reloading products. Okay, but here's 3 places. I'm not supported by them, but these are just places where I go to. Okay, first is going to be Brownells or Sinclair's, which are the same place, Midway USA, and Mid-South Shooter Supplies. Those 3 places are great resources on reloading. Okay, these are going to have all of the various equipment that you're going to need to get started and a lot more that you don't necessarily need, especially at first. Okay, so be looking for an upcoming video on equipment to get started. Another great resource that's online, but it's more based on factory ammunition and concealed carry and self-defense type stuff, is going to be Lucky Gunner. Okay, they have some great scientific testing on hundreds of factory ammunition. This provides extremely trustworthy, repeatable, scientifically tested information on, again, things like 9mm versus 45, or how does a 380 perform compared to a 9mm, that kind of stuff. That's a great resource. The next thing we're going to talk about is people. Okay, friends and family, they can be a great resource for getting started or even to learn some advanced techniques. However, just like on the internet, because remember, the internet is just people that have posted their information, be very careful who you trust on what topics. Remember to do the common sense and safety check against what you've read in these books, because you've done that, right? If you've followed my recommendation and you've read all these books prior to getting on the forums and prior to speaking with people locally, you're not going to go wrong. It's not the only way, it's just the way I recommend. Okay? Local folks can be a great resource on things like where to buy local product, where to go for further resources. There might be classes you can take on reloading in your area. Just keep the source in mind. Okay? If the person that you're talking to has only ever reloaded 9mm, that's great. Maybe that's all they ever wanted to do. But is that what you're trying to do? Okay, they may not be a great resource if you're trying to do long-range 308 ammunition. Or let's say the person is a competition PRS shooter. Well, their opinions might be better for that than someone who is just trying to reload in bulk for plinking or to save money. Again, there's many different types of reloading, and not one is right or better than the other. You just need to know which type goes with your goal and what you're trying to accomplish. Because if you align yourself with somebody who's got a different goal, then they're going to give you information that's different than what you're looking for. Okay, like with anything else, keep the common sense factor, keep the safety factor, keep the books in mind as you're vetting these resources. All right, so wrapping it up in conclusion, read the recommended books first. The cost of the books is small in comparison to what you're going to spend on firearms and equipment that you're going to need for reloading and shooting. So the money that you're going to save by not making those mistakes is going to be a huge return on investment rather than just diving in and just going at it willy-nilly. Okay, use the recommended resources on the internet, Sniper's Hide, Accurate Shooter, and the Firing Line, but always check the info that you get from these forums with trusted sources like people that you trust or books that you trust. And always keep safety in mind when you're talking about this kind of stuff. Talk to the people on the list, people, friends and family, that kind of thing third. Okay, and always check their goals with your goals. Are they the same? Are they different? If they're different, then they may not be right or wrong, but they may be giving you advice on things that you don't need to focus on. Most importantly, begin with the end in mind. Pick a goal for your reloading, and then tailor all of your resources, whether they be books, the internet, or local people, and tailor that to what you're trying to accomplish. If you start with the end in mind, then you can align what you're thinking about with what you're trying to do and plan it all out and not waste your time, someone else's time, money, equipment, that kind of stuff. Okay, always begin with the end in mind. And at the end of the day, guys, have fun with it. You got to have fun with it. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. So happy shooting, happy reloading, and don't forget to subscribe and check out some of the other videos that I have on reloading, shooting sports, and outdoor equipment. Thanks for watching.